And Iran says a drone attack caused a heavy explosion at a defense ministry ammunition depot, resulting in a top diplomatic official warning about escalating tensions in the Gulf. Well, I got more on that story now because the Wall Street Journal is quoting U.S. officials saying Israel was behind the raid. Bloomberg's Simone Foxman has more on this. Simone, what do we know about some of the other allegations?
Yeah, well, we've seen some pictures of what may be the remnants of this drone broadcast on Iranian TV, but the Iranians say that they thwarted this alleged attack and that their missile defense systems were able to destroy at least two of those drones. I think the threat here is the potential for escalation between Iran and Israel. That's something that Anwar Gargash, the UAE presidential advisor, referred to on Twitter yesterday or this weekend, rather, I should say. And there are a lot of people, experts, officials, who believe that Iran has essentially made all the progress, scientific progress it needs to create a nuclear weapon after significantly ramping up its nuclear program in the last few years. The question mark becomes, what do Israel and the U.S. do? Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, he's heading to Israel today, and he told Al Arabiya in an interview this weekend that all options are on the table. Israel has typically been the more forceful, the more hardline, the more aggressive actor in trying to stamp out Iran's nuclear capabilities, but it really needs the U.S. if it wants to eliminate them completely. This is a major risk for the region. It's one we just simply don't know exactly how it's going to play out. We don't know whether we could return to diplomacy around the 2015 nuclear deal. So just a lot of question marks here, Yusuf.
And then in other political news, Tunisia held parliamentary elections on Sunday. I was looking at the turnout ratio and I'm almost speechless.
Extremely disappointing. 11.3% of Tunisian voters participating in this election. And frankly, that's roughly in line with what we saw in the first round of parliamentary elections that happened in December. But this turnout just signals that Tunisian voters really don't believe they have a ton of influence in the policy making, in the democratic institutions of parliament, particularly after President Kais Saied passed some rules to expand his powers at the expense of the legislature. Critics are already calling for presidential elections. The problem is that Tunisia faces a terrible, precarious economic situation right now. We could see inflation rise to 11% this year, youth unemployment at nearly 40%. And then the key concern for investors is the IMF bailout. Yes, Tunisia reached a staff accord with the IMF for this crucial bailout that will help it avoid defaulting on its debt this year. But there are a lot of question marks about whether that will actually come through. And we've seen that in the markets. You check out 5-year CDS, reflecting just this ongoing concern. Moody's downgrading the country's credit rating further into junk territory just over the past couple of days.
And then Qatar Energy has joined a gas project in Lebanon. What are some of the public details?
Yeah, replacing a stake that Novatek, the Russian energy company, had and actually getting a little bit more for its money here, having a 30% stake in this project. It's specifically focused on what's called Block 9, an offshore potential gas exploration. And this exploration of this block has been delayed by squabbles between Israel and Lebanon over exactly who controls this territory. Those squabbles seem to be sorted out late last year after Lebanon struck an agreement with the former Israeli government. And so Qatar Energy coming into this deal, Total, Eni, all showing up in Beirut yesterday, potentially suggestive that we could see this deal move forward, see this exploration begin as early as November, according to local media reports. The big question mark here is whether or not the new Israeli government finds a reason to eliminate this deal. Lebanon, of course, seeking all the money it can get, especially from natural gas.